And hey guys, welcome back to the channel, back with the Midwest Express. So I was thinking today is, when we look at these different gig jobs, a lot of them are by the gig. It's not by the hour kind of earnings. And some gigs out here, some of these apps, you have to do 2, 3, 4 deliveries in an hour to make it worthwhile. So I was looking through my Gridwise app the other day, and I noticed that in there they have the ability to look at the hourly rates of how much people can earn with each one of these gigs. And I thought it was really interesting for the top 10 paying gig jobs out there. Now, this data is all collected by Gridwise based on what drivers are actually doing. Now, some apps might be lower just because drivers keep their app on all day. Some might be higher because they only drive during the peak hours with surge prices and whatnot. But this is based on the data provided by Gridwise, and these are the top 10 earning drive gig jobs out there. And I'm going to start at the least, going to the number 1. So at number 10, it is DoorDash. And according to Gridwise, the national average of what a DoorDash driver earns per hour is $18.61. Now, this is gross. This is not how much you take home after you figure out the wear and tear on your vehicle, the miles driven, the gas used. That's just the gross earnings of a DoorDash driver in the United States. Now, some markets are better, some markets are less, some are oversaturated, some are not. But on average, the average earnings of a DoorDash driver per hour nationwide is $18.61. Now, that also gets driven by the hours that people are driving. You can't do DoorDash 24/7. You can't do DoorDash at 2 in the morning and find customers all the time. There might be something that's still open, but for the most part, there's peak meal hours that's the time that you're going to make earnings with DoorDash. But if you think you're going to drive and make $18.61 all day long, probably not going to happen. So, continuing on with the list, from the top 10 down to number 1, number 9 is GoPuff. And GoPuff they say that GoPuff earns an average of $19.42 an hour, which is better than I thought. But GoPuff's really not the king of kings in my market. DoorDash is. So I guess, if people are driving a set amount of hours, but GoPuff's been under a lot of financial strain, and I think their business model has some issues. But according to Gridwise, you could make $19.42 as a national average for GoPuff. Going to number 8, Roie at $19.45, just barely edging out GoPuff. Now, for me, myself, I do really well with Roie, but they're only certain times of the year, during peak season, during shopping seasons, during times when, in the springtime, when lots of deliveries from Home Depot and whatnot. But it's seasonal, and all these gigs are all at the peak periods where these averages are coming from, I think. So going down the list, next is Uber Eats. And Uber Eats is $19.68 an hour. In my market, there is no way I can even get $19 an hour of deliveries. There is not that many Uber Eats deliveries and lots of drivers. So I couldn't do that even if, I sat there with my Uber Eats open all day long. It's not going to happen. Very rarely do I get anything more than a Starbucks or something in my market. But every market is different. You guys can leave your comments below what you think about that. Number 6 on the list is Instacart at $21.38 an hour, which I could see that now. But Instacart's a tough grind. You can hit some banger orders, make $30-$40, but you're gonna put the sweat equity in. You're gonna be going up and down those aisles. And if you're a seasoned shopper and you're really good knowing your stores and your market, you could do that. But for some people, they struggle. Me, I kind of cherry pick. I kind of only do Costco orders or really small orders from like CVS or Walgreens or something along those lines where I know I can pick up something and there's usually a decent tip on it. And it's just small items. Number 5, which is honestly my favorite food delivery app, is Grubhub. And Grubhub comes in at $21.85 for a national average. Now, Grubhub orders have really dropped off. Food delivery has really dropped off. But with Grubhub, they did that deal with Amazon Prime, and at first it was really firing, but I've seen a definite drop off in the orders. And, when it comes to food delivery, all it takes is one bad delivery from some knucklehead driver, and people will just not use the app anymore. I've gotten family members that are like, John, I've tried these apps. They all suck. Like, the food's cold, the food's late, the food's whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Because it's a flawed system, because the workers in the restaurants now are more focused on the customers right in front of them. Delivery orders are now taking a back seat, where during the pandemic, that was the bread and butter that they wanted to do all the time. So the customer service aspect of it is kind of falling off. The only place that really does really good, fast, expedient food delivery is McDonald's. And that's if you get a good driver to deliver it. But McDonald's is very good at packing and packaging and getting the orders out right away, because that's what they do. Next, number 4 on the list is Lyft. And Lyft average national hourly pay is $25.56. And again, you have to be busy. You have to be in a busy market to be killing that. And today, good example, it's a Tuesday. Tuesdays are always dead. But my Lyft app's on right now. You haven't heard it go ding. It's so dead right now. It's the middle of the day, which is why I'm doing a video anyways. Everybody's at work or doing whatever. So these are the peak periods when you're pulling down that $25.56 per hour. And I would guess that the morning commutes, the evening commutes, getting people back and forth to work, or bar times. That's how you make $25.56. And again, I can't say this enough. This is gross. This is not net. And so many people that are getting into gig work look at that gross and they don't realize how many miles they're going to put on their car. Like right now for Lyft in my market, I think it's 87 cents a mile. That's it. That's what you get paid. Now, Lyft pays you to go get the customer and drop them off, but it ends up being 87 cents a mile. And that's what you get unless you're driving XL or premiums. But for a regular standard ride, you ain't making much anyways. So unless you get a long ride to make it beneficial for yourself, and then you got to hope that wherever you're taking that long ride, that you're going to catch a ride afterward. You're going into a busy area where you're going to continue to keep working. But number 3 on the list, and I know this is going to cause a lot of people to chafe, but it is Walmart Spark, averaging $27.24 an hour. And that is doable, provided you get more than one delivery every couple hours. If you're just doing one delivery an hour, that'll be tough. That'll be tough because the round robins and everything, they have so many lowball offers out there to get deliveries out, and it's hard to cherry pick. And I think with that $27.24 an hour, they're looking at a lot of those stacked orders that, they pay out more, but you got a lot of deliveries to do. So those could be beneficial when it comes to an hourly rate, but that doesn't take into account how far you're driving, how many miles you're putting on your vehicle, how much gas you're putting into your car. Those things really, really, really matter. But it's feast or famine in gig work. And right now, we are going into a famine. And people are hungry. They are taking orders that they should take, but they're going to take them because they got to make something. They don't want to just sit in their car. They want to do something. That's why they're doing these gig apps. I don't poo on anybody for taking any order. It's your pocketbook at the end of the day, but you definitely are not helping yourself when you take the super low ball offers. Number 2, and this is going to surprise some, is Uber. And I always thought Uber was going to be number 1. Uber averages $29.06 per hour. Now, if you're driving Uber X in a hoopty, that might be hard to do. If you are doing Uber Comfort, Uber XL, Uber Lux, Uber Comfort Black, like all these other categories, that's why that average is so high, I believe. I believe that the standard Uber driver is not making $29 an hour. I'm betting it's more about 24, 25. But because of the larger vehicles and the cost saving or the cost average, I think that's why it comes out to $29.06. Again, a lot of people are driving just during peak hours. There's not a whole lot of, well, in my market, there are still full-time drivers, but not everybody's just living and dying by Uber anymore. And hopefully they're not living or dying by any of these apps, because it can be a hard grind. And last but not least, number one, the best earning driving gig app out there right now is Amazon Flex. And that is averaging a national average of $32.46 per hour. Now that is decent money, but that is not averaging your miles. That is not averaging your gas. That is not averaging, what you're lifting, what you're carrying, stress levels. I've been to the Amazon Flex delivery centers, and it is pandemonium. I see people packing their vehicles, and, everybody's doing it, so it must be worth it. To me, I ain't got the hustle in me. Not for that many packages. Not in and out of the vehicle all day, but I get it, but the money's there. And I know I've talked to an executive with Amazon that runs one of the distribution centers, and he was like, John, we know exactly how much we're paying our drivers. We're paying them about $25 an hour. And that's the average, what they want to pay. But people go a lot faster and they've learned how to figure out like how to finish their routes faster, so that average pay goes up more. So, but there you go. That is the list. DoorDash, GoPuff, Roie, Uber Eats, Instacart, Grubhub, Lyft, Walmart Spark, Uber, and Amazon Flex at the top. It's really interesting to me to be able to see this data, and I think that we're going to be inundated with a lot more data as time goes on. And I like the fact that the Gridwise app lets us take a look at this and take a look at like how many trips per hour does a driver average. And I think that all of this is really interesting data. If you would like me to do a video about your area, I plan on doing one about the Chicago area, and I'm going to do some of the bigger city metro comparisons, because I think that'll be really interesting too. So if you like this video, make sure you stick around. More videos to come, and we will hit you on the next one.